Hey everybody, it's your DJ Feels Goodman here with another tip and trick for my DJ friends. So, as you know, the choice of headphones that you make is a very important decision because you'll end up with something that's a personal item that you'll be taking with you to pretty much every practice session, every gig, until they break or get lost or get stolen. So, picking the right one is kind of an important decision. What I have with me right here are the Audio-Technica ATH-M50x's, and these are probably one of the most popular DJ headphones right now. I know there's a lot of other headphones out there, but right now a lot of people have been talking about these and recommending these, and I ended up with some too. But there was a problem that I kind of noticed when I was mixing, and it was basically this. I would be mixing with the M50x's, doing transitions and everything sounds perfect, but when I would listen to the mix afterwards, the recorded version, or even if I was listening to the mix happening on reference speakers, monitors, I would notice that it actually wasn't a perfect mix. So for some reason these ones sounded fine, but in reality it was not so fine. It is decent, but it could be better, and I thought it was perfect. So in search of perfection, I decided to see if there was better headphones that could be used than the M50x's for DJing purposes. And so I saw a couple of recommendations. There was the M40x, and some people also talked about SRH840s, but not for DJing, just for listening. And the thing that they talked about mostly was what is called, I think it's called frequency response, or some sort of like a V-shaped curve on the audio. And what that means is basically with M50x's, the audio that comes out of these cans have a pronounced bass and treble, but the mids kind of disappear a little bit. Like the mids are a little bit quieter, whereas with other headphones that they call, like, say, flat, I think it's flat response, it's all even. So the mids, the bass and the treble is all very even, so there's no extra emphasis on one or the other. It's basically reproduced in an even way. And so I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it's just the fact that there's some sounds I can't hear with these that I would be able to hear with other headphones that would allow me to mix better. So I said, screw it, let's find out. So I have with me the that's Audio-Technica ATH-M40x's and the Shure SRH840s. So here's the Audio-Technicas and here's the Shures. Now, comparing the two, actually let's compare the three. Comparing these three together, what I noticed was that with the Shures and these Audio-Technicas, you can definitely hear the mids a lot easier. And on mixes, transitions where I had thought it was perfect with these, I would try to do the same transition with these other headphones. And I noticed that I was doing a lot more corrections while wearing these headphones than the other ones, because I could actually hear the error a lot easier with these headphones. Whereas with the M50x's, I thought it was all perfect, which it wasn't. So here's the thing. So that here's, the Audio-Technica ATH-M40x's, it's basically the same thing as the M50s. The cans are actually a little bit smaller, but you still have the same amount of swivel, you still have a detachable cable port, and you still have a metal headband, which are pretty important in terms of durability for DJing. These sometimes get lent, tossed, stepped on, whatever it is, so durable headphones are really good. And these were definitely easier to mix on. So these ones are actually cheaper than the M50x's, which, if you just want to end the video right now and get some other headphones, if you've been experiencing the same thing I have, you might want to try these out. I think I got these for around $70, whereas the M50x's are like 100 something. So Audio-Technica ATH-M40x's definitely can be used, but originally I was looking for some headphones that would be like a noticeable step up from the M50x's, which meant most likely a noticeable step up in price. So from that I went to the Shure SRH840s, and these ones have a reputation for having really good sound but really bad build. And what I mean by bad build is that these tend to break, like at the swiveling part right here, like around this joint. There's a lot of pictures of it broken, but I kind of wondered if that was just individual experience, or if that was just, it happens to everybody. I don't use my DJ headphones every single day for day-to-day listening. I only use them for DJ practicing and for gigs, so those are the only times these get used. So I figure if I'm not using them as much and I'm just very carefully using them, maybe they'll last fine. So between these and the M40s, there's a couple big differences. Maybe this is why these tend to break. So one of the big differences is that this swivel here, or this joint, it does not swivel as much as the M40Xs or the M50Xs. So when you're wearing these around your neck, it's basically like this, and you have the cups kind of resting on your neck, and if you've got a big neck, it's probably choking you out a little bit, making you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Compare that to the M40s and the M50s, where you can do this. So these really get out of the way, and because they have such a far range for movement, getting to the end of the movement, like getting to the end of this range and going into breakage territory, is probably a lot less likely to happen. So that's one difference. The other difference is that I think, anyways, this headband, or this band right here, is actually plastic. Actually, I'm like 100% sure this is plastic, and this is actually the part that breaks a lot on people. But for me, I don't even really need to extend them, because I guess my head is just maybe small, I don't know, and I could just wear them like that. So I wonder if that'll actually help me make these last a lot longer. They also still have a detachable cable port here, just like the Audio Technicas, so that's also pretty nice. And you can still fold these up like so for storage, and so that's also nice. The only difference is that these, compared to the M50Xs, cost probably about $100 more, and so likewise it's probably like $170 more than the M40s. But the difference is that these ones, compared to the M40s, do sound a lot more clear, and they do sound flat, so you can hear the mids, and basically the experience is like this: when you have two songs mixing into each other, and you have mids of one song on top of mids of the other song, and highs of one song on top of the highs of the other song, you actually can hear all these little sounds a lot more easily with the Shures versus the M40Xs. So like the details, it's really a lot easier to hear the details on these ones. So whether or not that justifies the extra money, I'm not too sure, and whether or not these will last me a long time, I'm also not too sure. But what I am sure about is that Shure has a really good warranty program, because all the people that had these break on them, they got like practically no questions asked replacements from Shure, as if it's a known problem, and they're just kind of like, okay, it broke, send them a new one, no big deal. So at least there's that. At least Shure kind of takes care of their customers in that regard. Also, the cups they're just so much more comfortable on these than the M40s. Maybe you have to wear the M40s for a while. The cups on the, or rather the pads on the M40s are a lot harder, so maybe they've got to be broken in. These ones come soft and they're just much more comfortable. Also the headband, which has never really been a problem for me, is much more flexible and soft on these ones as well. And so those are probably the main big differences. So if the clarity of these ones are worth $170-ish over the M40s, then definitely get these. I originally was planning to buy both of these, see if they were better for DJing than the M50s, which they are, in my opinion, and pick one. But it's actually pretty hard, because this one does sound better. It might be less durable, maybe, than the Audio Technicas, and the Audio Technicas, they're probably just going to be just as durable as the M50Xs, which have lasted me for a couple years already, not a scratch on them, and I'm not particularly delicate with them either, but they don't sound as good as the Shures. So I might keep both. I'm not too sure, honestly. I might keep these ones, the Shures, for DJing at home, and I might keep these for going out on gigs. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I really like these. I kind of wish these there was like a headphone that had these put together, where it had the durability of this headphone and the sound of this headphone. That would have been great. But anyways, so once again, just to recap, if you got M50Xs, they're definitely not bad headphones. I just thought there were some better ones, and if you've been DJing just fine with your M50Xs, then more power to you. As you know, I DJ like trance and happy hardcore and UK hardcore typically, so I don't know if it's the genre that makes a difference or not. Or it could just be me, or it could just be my ears. but my experience anyways, these ones are probably just fine for everyday listening, for entertainment purposes. But if you really want to get into listening to the details of your music, especially if you want to get into the details of mixing, my experience is that you'll be able to do it better with those other headphones, because you'll be able to hear more than you will with these ones. So that's that. If you have some favorite headphones that you like to use, like I believe Shure, like username Shure, shout out to Shure, likes using V-Moda M100s, or is it 100Ms, which those ones are, from what I hear, very, very, very popular headphones. And then there's also the Sennheiser HD25, there's some headphones from Pioneer as well, and there's just a ton of headphones. So if you have a favorite headphone, comment it below. If you never tried anything other than your M50Xs, try other headphones just to see what it's like. I actually sort of got into this first because I tried DJ Andro's Philips A5 Pros, which are Armin van Buuren's co-signed headphones, and I noticed a difference right away, so I needed to do this test to see if it was just these, like if there's just a ton of better headphones than these M50Xs, or if it was just that particular headphone, those Philips, that were better. And I think it turns out that there's a lot of headphones that might be better suited for people looking for a flat response that will let you hear those bass, mids, and highs much more clearly than these ones. So that's basically it. Your DJ Feels Goodman signing out, and see you next time. Bye.